What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Take a Time Out. This is episode number 53. It's playoff time. Playoff basketball in the NBA is happening. It actually started yesterday, with our first two play-in games. They went down. So we had the Lakers and the Pelicans. Yeah, I guess we'll start there if you had any thoughts. I definitely had some, but I'll let you go first if you had any.
Yeah, so going into that game, I really thought the Pelicans would win that game. But I think the biggest factor for me, especially for the Lakers, is everybody but LeBron and AD showed up offensively for the most part. And even someone like Rui, the defense that he was playing last night, um, I mean, they have a lot of potential. And then on the Pelican side, like they kept it a really close game until uh, Zion was out. And if they win that game, I mean, that was kind of like Zion's like coming out party. I feel like on national television, like that was the player that everybody deemed him to be.
Hmm.
And I don't know, the Pelicans have another chance, but I think they even said that uh they're not playing against the King, or Zion's not playing against the Kings. So
Yep.
I mean, I'm not really too sure the chances the Pelicans have of making the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, now they got to play your Kings. I mean, coming into that game, I thought personally that the Lakers would win, but the story of the game just had a different tone to it. I mean, the Lakers controlled it the whole way. Zion had 20 at half. I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I mean, Zion's had a great game, but BI and CJ have given them absolutely
Mhm.
nothing. And then they reach a point like early in the fourth quarter where Brandon Ingram is just out of his mind, just not even playing like himself. And then it gets to the point where he just takes him out. He takes out Brandon Ingram. The lineup's literally like Jose Alvarado, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Larry Nance, and Zion. That was the
Yeah.
lineup for the rest of the game until Zion gets hurt, and then they throw CJ in, and that completely. I mean, that was the story of the game. Zion got hurt, pulled his hammy. I mean, it's tough. That's what came out. His hamstring got hurt, but wow, what a it took away what would have been an amazing finish because the
Yeah.
way it was heading towards. I mean, he had 40 before he went out, dude, and he was it
Mhm.
was all, and we know Zion's game. It's all layups, tough finishes. Like he's ridiculous, man, and I just hope he can stay get in shape this or like the shape that he was in. If he can do that next year early, it's gonna be dangerous. But yeah, I mean, it's just nuts that one injury takes away a great game because came down to the wire still, but Lakers pull it out.
Yep.
And then we had the Warriors battle it out against the Kings. Not much of a battle actually because the Kings absolutely mollywopped them, but Clay, that's a big storyline. Didn't score a bucket at all. You had him as your biggest sellout award winner, so continues into the postseason, I guess. Um, yeah, did you have any thoughts on that one? The Kings, I think you claimed as your favorite team. Are you still sticking to that?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I'm happy for the Kings. Like I said, especially with the matchup against the Pelicans coming up, I think
Yeah.
it'll be a lot more favorable, especially without Zion. But speaking on this game, I mean, the narrative coming out of it is it's the end of the dynasty.
Hmm.
I don't think that I think there still is a world where Clay is a warrior, but I think the odds of that drastically dropped, especially after this game. Um, and I don't know. Warriors, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've seen that since that started when really when basketball was like in its prime. Like that's what reinvigorated like Steph Curry changed the game completely.
Yeah.
Changed the game, how people play it, and to see it come to an end is sad, man. But I mean, even at the end, they're sticking to it. They're loyal to each other. Steph, Draymond, Steve all said we want Klay Thompson back. They
Hmm.
probably don't want him back for 20 mil a year, but they'll probably take him back for like a cheap deal. So we'll see what goes down. But sad to see the Warriors lose that game. Kings just really didn't miss many shots coming down late in the fourth. Keegan Murray had a good game.
Yeah.
Um, Keon
35.
Ellis had a great game. Like if you look at that box score, I watched the game, but if you look at the box score, it was very telling. Like every Sacramento King almost had 20, so stuff lost.
Hmm.
And then we got today's game, so I wanted to start early. We're recording around 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time because the 76ers are going to battle it out with the Heat here at 7. Um, Yeah, so what's your pick? We're gonna like basically pick through all these games. We're gonna hop into the series, but for this one, I got the 76ers. Um, yeah, my case would be, I mean, this is a fascinating matchup because for many reasons, but the Heat, they've looked terrible, absolutely terrible. Hero's back. They haven't had Hero for a long time. 76ers were awful when Embiid was out, but now that Embiid's been back, they're 8-0 to finish the year. They have not lost to finish the year. 8 straight games. So, I mean, if I'm thinking about this series, I'm gonna just give me the best, not this series, but this game. Give me the best player in this game, and that's Embiid. So,
Yeah, I like it. I think I'm gonna go with the Heat, but I'm very reluctant because they are playing without Duncan Robinson and Terry Rozier, and that's
yeah,
two people who help space the floor. Them getting Hero back is huge, but I think this is going to be a close game no matter what. I don't see this being a blowout at all, and it really comes down to if the Heat can make their shots because
yeah,
you know Embiid's going to score.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's looked like out of shape, all that, but give me all that crap because Embiid still looked like a top 15 player, even when he's out of shape and injured. Like, it's gonna be a great game, so I'm excited
Yeah,
for
and
that
I'm
one.
I'm I'm ready to see how Bam plays him as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a good matchup. And then we got a not this is probably the least in the like to the eye looking of all the games we have, but the Hawks are playing the Bulls tonight. Hawks are 1-3 versus the Heat this season. Obviously, it's an interesting game, but the Bulls, they probably have been the best, like, bad team, I think. Like, out of all the
Yeah.
bad teams, they probably look the best and are a little frisky on a night-to-night basis. They seem to beat good teams every now and again. Caruso, Alex Caruso is probably going to make Trey and DeJounte Murray's life like a living hell because that dude
hmm
is should be all defensive first team for sure. But I'm gonna go with the Bulls. I'm gonna go with the Bulls. I see them playing. So how it match up is the Bulls will play the Heat in my prediction. So.
I like it. I'm also going the Bulls here. I think
Okay.
I don't know. The Hawks are just the type of team that like to play down to their competition even when they are having a good night.
Yeah.
So and the Bulls have played some of their best basketball, I should say, towards the end of this year. So I
hmm
think that translates to this game.
I like it. I like it. All right. And then in the hypothetical scenario, so we got well, this isn't hypothetical, but the Pelicans are playing the Kings. So
Mm.
who would you like in that matchup? You said the Kings probably already, right?
Probably, yeah, probably the Kings, unless Brandon Ingram just, if he plays, just goes nuts.
Yeah. I'd love to see a great Brandon Ingram coming out party, but I mean, it's gonna be a tough, tough game. I'm gonna go with the Pelicans just because I want them to win. So that's part of me. Like, I don't
It's
want to
fair.
see the Kings versus the Thunder, and I don't know why, but Pelicans, chances Zion coming back, I'd rather have that versus the Thunder. So, and then we got the Bulls playing the Heat for me, and then it would be the Bulls playing the 76ers for you. In that matchup, I'm going with the Heat. You're probably going with the Sixers, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. All right, so we got the playoff preview. So we got a couple not decided matchups yet, but in my scenario, we're going to start out in the East. In my scenario, we would have the Heat as the number 8 seed playing my Celtics at the number 1 seed. Ooh, I'll let you go first because I got some thoughts about this one.
Um,
What would you have? Like, who would you have, and how many games do you think it would go?
I'm not gonna lie. I think this is a probably a Boston in five. Like as much as the narrative is that the Heat, do take the Celtics to, a bunch of game sevens and whatnot. I think that this team's just the Boston team this year is so much different than all the other teams. Like they're just so much better than the Heat on paper and probably on the court. So it's hard to say anything other than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had some notes written down, and it's among the lines of what you're talking about. Like, the narrative will be crazy. I mean, this is going to be a great time for ESPN because you'll have Perkins on there talking crazy. You'll have the whole 9 yards. But the Celtics, they added so much size this year when bringing in Kristaps. Like, just the size that we have, having a 7'3" big out there is going to be problems for Bam and a smaller big, stuff like that. And then Tatum and Brown combo. not only have they looked great offensively, but they've done everything else. Like they just do winning things now. Like they've sacrificed more this year than any other year that they played together. Because they're giving shots to the likes of Drew Holiday, Kristaps. They're just letting it flow, and everybody's getting theirs. White
Hmm.
and Pritchard and Drew, that combo. There's probably arguably no better guard combination starter to the bench that there is in the league. Pritchard's been dropping 40 on bad games every given night. So if we can't pull this one out, I have written down the Heat should just take our franchise and we should become their G League team because that would just be absolutely owning us. But yeah, I have Celtics in five as well.
Hmm.
Okay, so in this hypothetical of mine, I got the 76ers at the Knicks. Another really good matchup. I would go Knicks in six. The season, on the season they were 2-2 against each other. Um, the Knicks, they've scratched and clawed their way through this whole entire season, and they've ended with the two seed. Like they've literally had injuries on injuries on injuries. There's probably no more contender that's been more injured, and they're still sitting there at the two seed. And in terms of the matchup itself, I think they have a lot of size for Embiid. Like they have Mitchell Robinson, they have what's my boy's name?
Hardenstein.
Hartenstein. They have Hartenstein. Yeah, they got all these things, and then Brunson. This is my biggest point. Is it reminds me of when Isaiah Thomas, Celtics Isaiah Thomas, had that run of just dominating everybody in the playoffs. I think that's what he's about to do. Like he's about to just come out of nowhere and just basically go at everybody, even with a bad team. Like the odds are stacked against him, but that's when Isaiah Thomas shined the brightest, and I see the same out of Brunson. I think this is his year that he just shows like, no, this is for real, my team. So I'm going Knicks in six.
Yeah, I think 6 games is pretty fair. I mean, it could go seven depending on really just how the Knicks handle Embiid, but I'm right there with you. I think if you're especially in the playoffs, like I feel like it's safer to ride some of the hotter players, pause, but like some of the the players that have been playing some of the best basketball leading into the playoffs, and Brunson's right up there. So I'm right there with you. It's hard to kind of fade the Knicks right now.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even care if they're rolling out with like Nate Robinson Knicks. Like I don't care. Like
Hmm.
if that Jalen Brunson's on the court, I'm going with him. There's one point I forgot about is Embiid's had a lot of excuses, like a lot. So if he could just like, there's no more excuses than what he's had this year. I mean, like he's injured, like, but if he were to get out of this series, like a lot of people would shut up, I think, and just let him
Yeah.
be him because I mean he's had a lot of excuses, but they're all very valid. So. All right, so we got the Pacers at the Bucks. Pacers are at the Bucks. I'll let you start with this one, Nate. I know you got some takes.
I don't know how many games this will necessarily go. Um, I think maybe six, maybe even seven, but I honestly have the Pacers here. I just they've owned the Bucks with and without Giannis. Um, as much as like the Bucks should be favored on paper, it hasn't played out that way when
Mhm.
they've matched up. And I think that the rivalry that they've kind of had, especially starting this year with each other, I think that's going to play a lot into this series. So I'm going with the Pacers here, the younger team.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Pacers in six as well. So we have not deferred yet, but I agree, man. I mean, they're 4-1 on the season against the Bucks. Um, have we ever been more unsatisfied with like a three seed than we are with the Milwaukee Bucks? Like, I've never felt this bad about a three seed in my life because
Hmm.
there's just so much ugliness to what the Bucks have done this year. They're 22 and 25 since acquiring Doc Rivers. That's a scary stat. Um, yeah, like they fired a coach and then it got even worse. So,
Yep.
I think in this series, Tyrese gets in his bag a little bit, gets back to himself a little bit, and he shows like, hey, I could still be considered as all NBA player. Siakam has been very sneaky good, along with Aaron Nesmith, guys like that. And I think the
Hmm.
Pacers just match up very good with the Bucks, and the fact that they're offensively savvy and Bucks suck at playing defense. So it's a
Yep.
great matchup. So, but even if Giannis comes back, I mean, what is he gonna be like 45%? Like I don't like their odds. So
Yeah.
Pacers still plus money. I mean, it's nothing sexy or nothing, but they're like plus 104 or something like that. So.
Hmm.
Magic are at the Cavs. It's the final series in the East. It's the NBA TV special. You can catch this one on NBA TV because it won't make much prime time. But I'm interested in this series. I really
I was
am.
gonna say this is a very intriguing series.
I think so as well. But they've already scheduled it in this NBA TV series. I feel bad because I want to see Paolo show out. I want to see Donovan Mitchell. Like it's gonna be a great series. I think I got Cavs in seven. Because this is the toughest series, I think, out of all the series to actually pick. I wouldn't bet on this, no way, because this is really tough. I mean, we have a Magic team that has not been in the playoffs before. None of these guys have played. Cavs, they have a lot of experience, but not a lot of good experience that you're going to write
Yeah.
home about. So it's tough. Cavs have been lackluster, say the least, in the past month or two. The Magic have been the top five defensive team this year. Um, this series, the Cavs will. I said they will need to get everything out of Evan Mobley, like because he's going to have the Paolo matchup, and it's going to be good. So
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I really think this is a series that, if there is a series that's going to go seven, this is one of them. I think just these teams match up really well against each other. And
mhm.
I don't know, it's just going to be fascinating. Like you said, Evan Mobley is going to be a big factor. Paolo and Franz's, performance and really what they can get out of the bench on both of these teams. Like, that's really what the playoffs is all about. So I don't know. I'm very intrigued about this.
Yeah, yeah. So did you pick one or I didn't hear?
Yeah, I'm going with the Cavs. So
Okay,
as much as
yeah,
I think the Magic will probably push them to the limits, I think the Cavs are a better team.
yeah, yeah. I think so as well. Yeah. I mean, Jonathan Isaac and Jalen Suggs though, that's a really good lineup as well. So all right, so let's go to the West. In our hypothetical scenario, the AC would be the Pelicans, and they would be playing the Thunder, or it could be Kings and Thunder, whichever you want to pick against. But I'm gonna go Thunder in seven. I said that when Zion was healthy. If the
Mm,
Pelicans played the Thunder and Zion was there, the reason I said that is another unproven team in the Thunder. And the Pelicans, they have a lot of playoff experience, just like the Cavs do. Nothing to write home about, but they've all played a lot of games. CJ's played a lot of playoff games. And even Brandon Ingram has, like, they have dudes that have just been there before. And I think it would go something like the Thunder would drop two games early and it would look really scary. And then the Thunder rally at the end and they win in seven. But yeah, this is all new to the Thunder. This is gonna be a first time. Shea hasn't played in the playoff game since his Clippers days, so we'll see how it goes.
yeah. So going with my hypothetical of it being the Kings, I think the Thunder probably take it in 5 or 6 games, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, Once again, just the Thunder are significantly better than the Kings, a team like the Kings, and especially a team like, I mean, even though the Pelicans do match up, I think even without Zion, um, it's just tough. The Thunder have been rolling. This is Shea's time to prove that he's one of the best players in the league. There's
Yep.
no brighter lights in the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, in the playoff games that he has played, he looked amazing for the Clippers. That's when I started liking Shea, is back in his
Hmm.
Clippers days. He was a bright spot on that team. So, all right. So we both had this one. The Lakers are playing the Nuggets.
Yep.
Ooh-wee.
Nuggets in
Man,
4.
Nuggets in four. Okay, I like it. The Lakers were 0-3 versus the Nuggets. They haven't beat the Nuggets since I think 2 years ago.
Mhm.
So the odds are stacked against LeBron James. They really are. Uh, yeah, I think this is the Lakers' kryptonite, but I'm surprisingly gonna go Nuggets in seven. I think that they
Mhm.
drag this series out. It's gonna be ugly. But what I saw last night, like when D'Lo's playing like that, like 22 points a game, and he's just actually moving the ball, and they found a rhythm. Austin Reeves still a great facilitator, gets AD's lobs. I mean, it's gonna be a tough series, I think. But wait, yeah, Nuggets in seven is what I had, so I'm sticking with it.
Respectable.
All right, Suns are at the Timberwolves. It's a
Mm,
fascinating matchup. This is good stuff. When it comes to the West, like I gotta watch all these series front to back. Like this is good basketball here. The Suns are 3-0 against the Wolves this year. They're
mm.
3-0, have not lost to the Wolves this year. They've really turned it on in the back half of the year. The Suns, well, as of late, have been on fire, really. Like Bradley Beal's starting to have play some really good basketball, and I think the Suns shocked the world and they win in 5 games.
I like it. I was kind of right there with you. I think Suns in six,
Okay.
but I just think, yeah, their scoring alone. What else is there to say? Like, this
Yeah.
is why you invested as much as you have into this team and how their play style. And
Hmm.
if they don't take a series, like I have so many
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah, no, and they just paid Grayson Allen. Like they're
Hmm.
they're literally doubling down on everything. So this is go big or go home
Yep.
for real. All right, the Mavs are at the Clippers. If I had to pick my favorite series, it's this one. Mavs are at the Clips. So I put Luca versus his own kids because that's what it seems like. I mean, that's the big talk around town is that he owns the Clippers. Um, I mean, there's so many storylines that can come out of this game, like so many. But I am going with a different take. I'm gonna go Clippers in 7. I think
Mm.
it goes 6 or 7 games no matter what. But you sent a parlay today, and the Mavs were the series winner on there. So Um, I mean, this is a red hot Mavs team. Like they play really good as of late, and the Clippers, they've just been coasting. It seems like they have just been chilling back. Kawhi's probably been clubbing with James Harden. Like they're just chilling right now. But I think they amp it up, even if they drop the first couple games. They got so many dudes on that team, like Russell Westbrook, and it's gonna be a good series. But I think the Clippers pulled out.
Listen, I respect it, but since Seth isn't here, I have to carry on the tradition
Hmm.
of dogging on James Harden, and especially in the playoffs, there's
Yep.
no shot I can choose a James Harden team. Especially like you said, the Mavs are red hot. Um, the way that Kyrie and Luca have been playing recently, like that is a scary duo going into the playoffs. Um, I think that this will be a very fascinating series. I think this does go 6 or 7 games, but it's hard for me to fade the Mavs right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, man, because I mean, I've never seen Kyrie be so passionate about the game and just feel more comfortable than he has since he played with LeBron back in 2016. Because
Hmm.
they got this nice where Kyrie can just sit there and he don't have to have the ball. Luka's usage rate is down more than it's ever been. Like it's a good little duo they got going, along with all the guys that they got on the bench. So it's definitely gonna be a good series.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's all the matchups right there. Uh, so the last thing I had was let's give it out. I mean, we gotta give a finals prediction. We're probably in the same we've been on the same wavelength this whole pod, so maybe we gotta throw a parlay together or something. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
go Nuggets versus Celtics in the finals. I'm gonna go Nuggets in 6.
Oh, I can't believe you said that.
It hurt, bro. But bro, I'm just this is the Nuggets year. They're gonna double down. They're gonna get the repeat. Um, People are going to overreact, say trade Jaylen Brown. All you want in the NBA is a chance. And year after year, we have one of the best chances in the league, and that's all you can ask for. So I'm hoping that I'm just being negative, but I'm going Nuggets in 6.
I think you are being a little negative because this is honestly like if this is the finals matchup, I really think that this is a coin flip.
Yeah.
Um, but to give a different answer here. I'm gonna go Boston in 7. I think when they do play, it will definitely go 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
Unless, there's just drastic injuries or whatever the case is. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that these two teams are obviously the best two teams in their conference,
Hmm.
at least in my opinion, for the Nuggets. I don't know. It'd just be really fascinating. But yeah, give me Boston in 7. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd be more than satisfied about that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely have everybody over for that game seven, and it would be ruckus. I'll tell you that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, there's two X factors in that matchup that would go nuts. Is the I feel like the Nuggets go as far as Jamal Murray goes because we've seen that in the back half of the year is they haven't had Jamal Murray in some of these games and they've been dropping some close games. And then the Celtics to go as far as Porzingis goes because
Hmm.
who else are we gonna play? Luke Cornett, I mean Xavier Tillman or Al Horford. Like we are all in on Porzingis, so those are two dudes that have to stay healthy, and then we'll have a great finals if they both are. So. It's good stuff. I'm excited for playoff basketball, man. I'm ready for it. This Saturday, it all goes down. So,
Yeah.
but all right, man. That was episode 53. We'll be back next week with reacting to some playoff games. Hopefully, we got some crazy stuff to talk about. But it was real. Peace.
Peace.